Have you ever been told to be enough, try harder, adapt more, give more of yourself, and yet the person still walked away? What if the problem was never a lack of effort, but an excess of it? What if trying to be enough was exactly what created tension, imbalance, and distance? This video reveals the Taoist explanation for this and why, when you stop trying to prove your worth, the dynamic changes completely. By the end of the video, you won't just understand why this happens. You'll know how to stop losing yourself trying to be enough and how to get back into the flow where relationships are no longer forced but natural. In Taoist thinking, nothing in nature tries to prove that it deserves to exist. The tree does not grow to be accepted. The river does not flow to be validated. The sky does not expand to please anyone. They exist because it is their nature to exist. When you try to be enough for someone, you are operating under a logic that is opposite to the Tao. You are saying, albeit silently, the way I am is not enough. This message does not stay inside you. It communicates energetically. The other person may not be able to explain it, but they feel it. They feel tension. They feel invisible pressure. They feel an expectation hanging in the air. And the Tao teaches something simple and hard. Where there is excessive expectation, the flow breaks. In Taoism, excess action. Intention and control is called excess yang. Too much yang does not create closeness. It creates resistance when you try to be enough. You enter a state of inflated yang, acting too much, explaining too much, wanting to solve too much, thinking too much. Life, always seeking balance, responds by creating yin and yin. In this context, appears as silence, distance, cooling, withdrawal, not as punishment, as natural compensation. The mistake is to think that, in the face of withdrawal, the solution is even more yang, more effort, more trying, more adaptation. This only increases the imbalance. Taoism observes something that modern psychology also confirms. People are attracted to those who are whole, not those who are trying to complete something. When you try to be sufficient, you position yourself energetically below. You start to emit a constant question, even without words. Is this okay? This question creates an invisible weight. No one wants to be the judge of another's value. Withdrawal is often not a lack of love. It is an unconscious attempt to escape this emotional responsibility. The Tao teaches that true magnetism does not come from effort. It comes from the absence of need. There is a deeply rooted belief: if I am better, calmer, more present, more understanding, the person will come back. Taoism clearly dismantles this illusion. When you act to achieve a specific result, you leave Wu Wei. Wu Wei does not mean doing nothing. It means acting without forcing, acting in alignment with the natural flow of life. It is the difference between pushing a river to make it flow faster and simply walking with the current. When you act from Wu Wei, your action comes from the center, not from lack. It does not depend on the other person's response to be validated. It happens whole, complete in itself. That is why Wu Wei is action without attachment to the result. You do what needs to be done, say what needs to be said, move when you need to move. But you don't compulsively watch to see if it worked. The moment you act to obtain a specific result, you leave Wu Wei because now your action does not come from the Tao. It comes from fear, trying to be sufficient. Is action with extreme attachment? It is acting while constantly looking at the other person's reaction. This type of action does not flow. It is in pressure, generates opposition. Here is one of the most difficult paradoxes to accept. The moment you stop trying to be enough is the moment you become enough. Not because the other person changes immediately, but because you return to your center. The Tao does not ask you to become more. It asks you to stop moving away from yourself. When you let go of the need to prove yourself, something reorganizes itself. Your body relaxes, your speech slows down, your actions become simpler, your presence becomes lighter, and this is felt. A common mistake is to confuse detachment with coldness. Taoism does not teach you to close yourself off. It teaches you not to lose yourself. You can care deeply without trying to control the outcome. You can love without compromising your dignity. You can be present without nullifying yourself. When you stop trying to be enough, you don't become distant, you become stable. And stability is something rare and deeply attractive. When you step out of the state of effort, the field changes. The tension disappears. The expectation dissolves. The other feels space again, and space is where desire breathes. Not because you manipulated, but because you stopped resisting the flow. The Tao never forces encounters. It allows them to happen. Taoism doesn't ask if you are enough for someone, it asks if you are aligned with yourself. When you try to be enough, you abandon the Tao. When you respect yourself, you return to it. And everything that needs to stay, stays without effort. Everything that needs to go, goes without struggle. If this teaching has found you, it is no coincidence. In Tao, nothing is forced. The right things simply fall into place when we are ready to hear them. By signing up, you are not following a channel. You are choosing to walk with more clarity, less attachment, and more presence.